Yo, what is going on, PartTimerZack here. In today's video, I'm going to be doing my review of Punishing Gray Raven. So we are closing out on the Frozen Darkness event, and I wanted to kind of put this right before it actually ended to give you guys an idea if you are coming back for the Fallen Star event, or maybe you're kind of eyeing it and see if it's kind of worth still playing. I want to talk about why I personally think that it's a really fun game and something that you're really going to kind of grow into if you just wait out the next couple events. It's going to have a lot more fun than it is right now. So my kind of current review right now is just going to be talking about some different things that I've seen a lot of people saying and giving kind of my opinion on it, and then talking about why I really enjoy the game overall. So talking about repetitiveness, I know a lot of people are kind of upset that the fact that you have to go in here and you pretty much grind one mission and it's so, done. Essentially, you go in here 15-20 minutes, you are done. Now, my rebuttal to this, and the reason that I actually like the game, is because it's okay for me to do that. I personally like doing that, but not only that, it's the fact that we have a roadmap, right? We have a CN, we have a JP, we know that there's stuff in the future that is going to be coming to the game that is just going to enhance the game. If you are one of those people that really want to play for like 30 minutes to an hour, you are going to be able to do that when these other game modes come out, and it's not going to cost you stamina. The thing is, a lot of people are kind of issued about, hey, this stamina, man, I can't play for more than like 30 minutes because I just don't have enough stamina. Right now, I would say that you're right. Yeah. So you go into Warzone, you go into Pain Cage. Maybe these are like 15-20 minutes, guys. Like, it's really not going to be that long to jump in here unless you're on the, the Pain Cage and you're doing hell and it's really hard. Then yeah, you might be spinning a little bit, especially if you're kind of worried about the overall points that you have. Then yeah, you probably are spending a little bit more time. But if you're just going in there and you're just grinding them, you don't really care too much about all that, then yes, then it's definitely going to be a lot shorter than somebody who's worried about the points in Warzone and stuff like that. But I gotta say, man, like the events that are coming, like Tower of Babel and all the kinds of things that come out in the new kind of events coming forward, is really going to be a lot of fun, guys. So I just know that, the repetitive nature of all these are really going to be kind of a damper essentially. But the reason that I can keep grinding it, and the reason that I still think positively of the game, is because I know what's to come. Essentially, I know what's going to happen, and I know that it's going to be a lot of fun for a lot of people, especially people who like to play the game a little bit longer and like a challenge. I just know that there's so many things that you're going to jump in there and you're going to get one shot and you're like, okay, I kind of like this. Like, I kind of like having that challenge. If you're into like Dark Souls and stuff like that, then you know what? It's going to eventually be a point where it's like you have so many risks that you can take, like in Tower of Babel, where they can like one shot you if you get hit in the wrong way. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to be like, okay, well, how do I dodge this? How do I learn? Like, you're going to start to have to learn bosses, and it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So that is kind of the reason that I hate when people say it's repetitiveness. I understand it. I get it. I like totally agree. Right now, it is a little bit more repetitive. I even have the thing where people are saying there's a lack of content. In my personal opinion, and just seeing the game when I first jumped into it, there was tons to do. There was interlude. There was like essentially Stronghold if you got to a point where you could play it. There's, the whole entire story. There's a hidden part of the story that you can go all the way through, which I still haven't even done. There's all the challenges of Warzone, Pain Cage. Golden Vortex is a little bit later, but I would still add that because once you get to 65, obviously you can play that. And then there's like, Memory Rescue and stuff like that. And then there's the events, the co-ops and whatnot. So yeah, I do totally understand that, hey, maybe to some of you guys, it wasn't really like a lot of content. But in my personal opinion, when games come out, it's like you got the story, and then maybe you got some sort of in game. Like, it's like just two things that you can do. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much to kind of grind on for a lot of newer gacha, man. Like, it just takes a little bit of time for them to add certain things. And everybody's like, yeah, that's fine. It's whatever. But when Punishing Gray Raven came out, they're like, oh, well, why is it only like 15 things to do? Or, whatever. It's like, most games only have like 2 or 3 things to do. So I feel like a lot of people are just giving it a hard time because they expected more, because maybe they watch CN or JP and they're like, well, why don't you give us all this stuff? Why don't you give us targeting? Why don't you give us, Tower of Babel? Why are we waiting for all this stuff? It's because if they just kind of gave you every single thing at the very beginning, not only would it be unfair to everybody else who played on the other servers who had to wait for everything, but it would also just be kind of an overwhelming experience. And a lot of you guys would probably have already had most of it already done and already be kind of complaining that there isn't enough to do. So even if they gave you tons of stuff to do, you'd still just grind it out and do it all. And then be like, well, what's next? What's to do? And they're like, well, we gave you the year's worth of stuff that we had all in one sitting, and you digested it essentially. So it's like almost eating a buffet, right? You can grab as much as you want, but you're eventually going to get to a point where you just don't want to eat it all. Like, even if it's a prime rib, you've ate like, chicken, you've ate steak, you've ate all this kind of stuff, and there's just a juicy, nice prime rib, and you are full to the brim. You're not going to want it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how good it tastes, because you're full, you're done, you're over it. That is how it would be if somebody kind of gave you all the content that was available in Punishing Gray Raven. There'd be so much to do that you'd be like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my personal opinion on it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the gacha. I personally think that this game is super free to play. I know a lot of people have disagreed with me in comments of other videos kind of saying like, hey, it's not free to play because I have to do this. I have to grind for BC and all this kind of stuff. It gives you a currency that you can grind through weeklies and dailies And, you know, you can even do like the bounty stuff, which isn't directly related to BC, I know, but it does give you the supply tickets, which can help you out with grinding as well if you're looking to get just a base recruitment. These ones do start to stockpile up a little bit, as you can see, and you're able to jump in here as well. But personally, I think it's super free to play, right? So the pity alone is something that I really enjoy. 60 attempts and you're guaranteed an S rank or above. Now, obviously on the debut banners, like Alpha, for example, she was 100%. So if you got to 60 attempts, you are 100% likely to get Alpha. Now, obviously with these other ones like S-Cam, for example, he's at 70 right now, so you can get another S rank. But on those debut ones, like for example, when like S Bianca comes, it's going to be 100% chance when you go to pity. What other games really have that? I know a lot of kind of games do that, but they essentially make you to go to like 100 attempts, or they get you to a point where it's like, okay, well, after your 60 attempts, now it goes up by percentages. Like, for example, it would be like, now you have a 20.1%, you have a 20.5% of pulling an S rank character. And I can't stand structures like that, because it's like, if I'm going to pity, man, if I'm spending the 15k BC that I grinded for, I want the character. Give me the damn character. At least give me like a 70% chance of getting my character. Don't give me like a 20% chance of getting like an S rank and then have it out of a pool of 10 S ranks. You know what I mean? That is what really upsets me about a lot of those games. Or going to 100, man. Going to 100 pity is insane. It's bonkers to me that anybody would have the amount of time or money to spend to essentially go to 100 pity. There are games out there, when you have 100 pity, you are never going to get. You would have to skip banners to go to the next banner to hope to get 100. You know what I mean? So this game will essentially give you 14,520 essentially BC for 3 months, which is kind of the structure that we've been following for the S ranks. So that pretty much means that every single character, including the event, if you grind through the events, you get a little bit more BC than that, right? So you will probably be at 15k for each one of the new S construct events, and you will be able to pity the characters. So the thing is, you can pity pretty much any S rank as long as you're willing to put in the time and effort for your dailies and weeklies to get that BC, and then grind throughout the event to jump into the banner essentially. And that's the thing, you don't even have to go to the guaranteed pity. If you get it anytime at point, if you get an S rank at any point before that, you actually end up getting a chance to get the character as well. So it's not like you have to go to pity. A lot of people were saying Alpha, they pulled like 2 10 pulls and got Alpha. You know what I mean? So the pity is just a guaranteed at any point you can get the character. Now, the other thing I've seen, like the weapon stuff, and people are kind of upset about the weapon. And honestly, again, I don't really complain about this, because it's 30 attempts, you get a 6-star guaranteed weapon, and you get to choose the weapon that you want. So obviously these ones aren't 100%, it's an 80-20, but most of the time you guys are going to win that. And if you aren't winning that, then guess what? You don't have to summon on it, because these weapons stay. Any type of weapon that is added to here, they are staying forever. You can go in here at any point in time and grind on these whenever you can get the chance to essentially get like Sakura or whatever you want. You can essentially just wait until you have enough BP to jump in here and do a little bit more pulls. So honestly, I think that this game is super free to play. It has a lot of different aspects to it that make me really happy when it comes to just catering essentially to people who are playing. Now, obviously there's wells, there's other places that people can kind of grind, and they're all in Warzone, and you know, they're highest of the highest. I definitely understand that, but Tower of Babel is going to be something that the whales are even going to struggle with. So definitely understand that it's going to be a little bit different when all that stuff comes out. So the last and final thing is the combat. I really enjoy the combat. I think it's really fun. I think a lot of people really enjoy it as well. I haven't really seen too many negative comments. It's cool that they have certain mechanics like, you know, animation cancels, for example, when Alpha goes into her red, or you can actually cancel out of it and it will continue the attack. So it actually gives you a little bit more of an efficiency whenever you're attacking and going through things. The animations look really fun. It's a lot of fun to go hack and slash things. It's also a lot of fun to play somebody like Bianca and attack from far range. It doesn't really feel like there's a little bit of a, you know, this isn't as fun as this, essentially. At least from my perspective, I have fun doing both. Now, I would say that, you know, Alpha is a little bit fancier, a little bit more flashier, so it is a little bit more fun to, you know, essentially use her yellow and half through everybody, especially in Warzone when you're going against all those mobs. But, you know, for example, S Bianca is a lot of fun too. When you use her ult and it hits everybody and everybody just starts to pop, that's a lot of fun as well. So obviously, I think that the game is really kind of maturing. I think there's a lot of aspects to it that are kind of going into an advancement, and we're going to be able to see that a little bit more and more whenever the new events come out, and we get a little bit more structure and a little bit more variety when it comes to the game modes. And I think a lot of people who put it down during the Frozen Darkness event are really going to regret the fact that they don't have enough BC for somebody like S Bianca, and that they don't have their units piled up essentially for something like Tower of Babel. But they quit for pretty much a month, and then they don't have all the resources and stuff like that, and they will probably complain at that point. But anyway, guys, that is going to be my review. I personally love the game, and I'm going to continue to play it, but I just wanted to kind of give it out to you guys just in case you guys were on the fence or you kind of wanted to see my perspective on it. But anyway, guys, I will see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.